Hey everyone, I'm RJ. We're back. There are more Fish concerts to talk about, and I have two guests today. I'm going to talk to my friend Liz for a little while, and then we're going to talk to Scott Bernstein of Jam Bass. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to say that I'm wearing my shirt that says "Roll Like a Cantaloupe." My friend David, who's at Canoe Carnival on Twitter, he made it and sent me one. He makes a lot of cool shirts, so you guys should check him out. Also, this whole thing is brought to you by Shift Genuine Cannabis. They're awesome, and we'll be telling you more about them this week. We have an amazing contest that we're going to announce, I think, on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will tell me if I'm wrong. But all right, so one thing I want to say, if you're watching, I know a couple of people have already made comments. Hi, thanks for tuning in. Put your comments in the chat box and ask questions if you want, and we'll get these questions answered and put things on the screen and whatnot. All right, so I'm going to bring in my friend Liz, and we are going to talk about last night's show, the first night of Alpharetta, and man, there's a lot to talk about. Hi, Liz.
What's up, RJ?
Hey. So as background, Liz is one of my favorite people and one of my best friends. And I just got to introduce Liz to Goose last weekend at Floyd Fest.
God, was that just really last weekend? It feels like somehow like an eternity ago.
I know. We did a festival with our kids, and then you took a couple days off, and then you went to Oak Mountain, and now you're doing both nights of Atlanta. So you're kind of on tour, even though you're at home.
Yeah, I'm too old to be on tour, but I am seeing 3 nights in a row, and it's going great. It's fun.
Going great.
Seeing Fish is awesome.
So great. So I met Liz like 20 years ago, and we pretty much immediately became friends. Well, because my wife and her are best friends, but also because she loves fish, and we've been talking about fish for a long time. And you actually went legitimately on tour in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I guess that was like 2000. Did you do like a whole thing?
We did like summer tour 99 and December tour 99, and most of summer 2000, lots of fall, because we were up in the Northeast, so I got to see lots of fall and just lots of stuff that was all happening up there for a while.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yes, the vast majority of the shows that I saw were in 1.0 for sure.
So, okay. So what was it like going back to a Fish concert after, I don't know how many years, I mean, months? I guess it had probably been like 2 years for you, like since the summer.
Well, I saw them in Charleston in late 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was like just actually kind of pre-pandemic. So that was the last time I saw them, which was super fun and awesome. But yeah, so almost 2 years, and it was great. It was so good. Oak Mountain was my first night, right? And it was kind of a cluster getting in there. And I know you guys have already talked about that show, but that was my sort of first night back, and it was amazing. Had a really, really fun night that night. And yeah, it just feels good. I mean, it's weird to be back in this pandemic and with the awareness that there's crazy things that could be going on. And I mostly try not to think about that too much and be safe. But yeah, they sound great, and it was super fun.
So the first set, we were talking earlier this morning. I mean, the first set was so stacked with amazing music. The Sand and Everything's Right, 2 openers. I mean, like the 1-2. I mean, that was like pretty amazing. How was the energy in there?
Right out of the gates. Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, here we go. And it makes me think too of that first tube opener for the 2018 run that was so fantastic. I feel like that's a similar vibe to Open with Sand,
Yeah.
And anyway, it was fantastic. Yeah, I thought it was a super strong start right out of the gate, and then the Everything's Right going right into that beautiful jam, like second song of the show. It was awesome. It was great, and it's still really light at that point in the venue. So like you can really see everybody. People were still settling in, and there was like some jostling as happens in that moment of a show, of course. But
yeah,
we had a good thing going at that point, and there was some good dancing happening around us. So yeah, it was a great start.
Did it feel like, well, I guess when you went back on Friday night, did it feel like just going back to a show, or did it feel different since the last time you were at a show?
I think it mostly just felt like going back to a show. It's like, okay, here we are, we're doing this thing, and it felt exciting for sure. But it mostly was like, here we are, sort of like being home. Like, all right, we know about this. This is what this is, and here we are doing it.
Being home is good. What was like the highlight of the first set for you? Because there was a lot going on there.
There was a lot going on there. I thought truly right out of the gates, the stand, everything's right was great. It was a fantastic maze. I took a walk this morning and was listening back, and I thought there was some beautiful stuff happening with Paige. There was a lot of really beautiful piano activity happening last night.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
the maze was great. Oh, I had a friend with me last night who was his first show. And so he was sort of like, tell me what this is all about in the parking lot before the show. And I was trying to summarize this whole thing that has been such an important part of my life. But yeah, there was a moment during that maze, when like the big high and the lights all go white. And I sort of like just tapped him on the shoulder and I was like, this is kind of what this is all about,
That's awesome.
And yeah, he had a great time. It was sweet to be there with him for his first show. Early on, I turned to him and said, like, so what do you think? And he was like, yeah, I really get it. Like, I get it.
That's awesome. That's so cool to be able to bring someone to their first show.
Yeah, it was fun. But anyway, so the maze was great, I thought. And then I thought the Bathtub Gin was a fantastic closer, too. There's so much good stuff. Like you said, Stash was fun. One of the things I was trying to explain to my buddy before the show was like the synchronicity and the crowd band energy and exchange of energy and vibe. And so it was fun to be like, as soon as Stash started, I was like, all right, this is a crowd participation song. He was like, got it, And there was a lot of that just fun. And they danced at some point, Trey and Mike did. I forget what that was during.
Yeah, maybe a Turtle in the Clouds.
Oh, yeah, and that was so great, too. Yeah, and that song is great, too. That was super fun.
I feel like they're really well practiced because like Foam and all the songs, like they didn't seem to be playing anything that they didn't know how to play, which is like
that's right.
Everything was really well played. It was really cool.
I think
that first set was kind of a monster.
The first set was a monster. I thought. I told you this morning over text, but I actually thought the first set was better than the second set, which is sort of sacrilege and not a thing that is normally true. But it was a really strong first set and was great.
You were telling me like about finding your place at a show, which I feel like it's one of the things that I forgot happens at concerts, but it happens to me at Fish shows where like some nights you just go and you get to your place and there are people around and you're just like there and it's like amazing. And then some nights, for me at least, like I'm trying to find a place and then I like don't really find a place until like the very end. And then, it kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's me being older, but it feels like I got to have like a good spot. Whereas back in the day, I could kind of just wander around and have fun. But it's kind of like that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, I think, and that totally happened for us Friday night. We just like walked in and slid into this row and it was perfect. And we had great energy. The people like on either side and front and behind were all like the same energy dancing. And it was, just awesome. Last night it was harder to find that. It took us a little while. And then I have some friends who had pit tickets and like partway through the second set, she was like, do you want to come down here and join us? And I had a whole thing of like, do I really want to move? But that would be kind of cool because I never normally try to get close to the band and here's a chance to do it. And I debated that, but partly, yes, our little area hadn't fully gelled at that point. And I thought maybe a change of scenery will be good. Don't ever be that wasted guy who comes up behind somebody partway through the second set and is like falling over the seat and spilling beer all over you. That was part of what happened to me last night. Like
that's
the guy
really
singing really loud and like clapping out of tune to the song. Like,
yep. Shit.
Yeah, but we had an aisle thing going that was good at times, and that same aisle that you and I were dancing. I don't even know when, a long time ago at Alpharetta is where we were.
That was my last time. Was that 2016 maybe?
I don't really know. Maybe.
Yeah. There's no way to tell. So the second set is like kind of all about that chalk dust. And were you up front close during that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I was still in my like 101, 102, 103 aisle for that chalk dust, and it was really sweet. And I definitely was not moving during that. I didn't consider moving until that was had wrapped up. And yeah, that was amazing. And I definitely had multiple moments throughout that jam where I, in my head, was like, "What? Are we still on the first song of the set? I think we're still this. I think this is still chalk dust, right?" Mm-hmm. Which is
kind of a cool feeling.
Fish moment. Yeah.
What did you think? Like, what were some highlights? The rest of the set I felt like was like kind of a grab bag of songs, but they were all pretty well played. Like Prince Caspian had a cool jam in it.
Yeah.
What else did you enjoy there?
I think this is sort of speaking to like the finding your place in the show thing, is that I did decide kind of during Steam maybe to go down and find my friend. And so things got a little bit disjointed for me, and it was hard for me to know if that was like my experience versus like what was happening actually on the stage with the band. But I ended up down front by, I think AC/DC Bag, or like I was settled strongly by the time they played AC/DC Bag, which I always loved to hear AC/DC Bag.
Yeah.
I'm never going to complain about that. You know, it's so fun. That's a special song for me and my really old friend who I was at the show with last night.
Amazing.
That's one of her favorites. So I was down front by then. And then for that Shade, which of course like slowed things down for a little bit. And then I always loved Mike's song. I thought it was a good one. It wasn't an amazing, mind-blowing one, but it was solid. And that was fun. And then the coolest part of being down front for me was then when they played Silent in the Morning, because I could actually really see. I was Paige side. I could really just like watch Paige sing, and that's not something I ever normally do, because normally I'm just dancing and mostly looking at the people around me more so than what's actually happening on stage. And it was pretty cool to see him, really be able to see him sing and see just the energy, see their expressions as they were playing Mike's and into Week of Fog after Silent in the Morning. So that was fun.
According to my very quick research, I think that was only the second time they played Mike's Silent Week of Pog. The last time was 7/3/13 in Maine, for anyone who's paying attention to those sorts of things. Yeah, that was really cool. Definitely unexpected.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've seen two shows and you're going again tonight. I feel like this may be too early in the tour to say this, but it feels like they're like really, like by the end of this tour, it feels like they can't really even get that much better than they're playing right now. So maybe they'll just stay on that wave.
Yeah, they sound great. I mean, like you said, they sound practiced. I think they have to be excited to be back. I can't imagine that they aren't. And yeah, they sound great. I mean, between the Carini the other night and then this Chalk Dust last night, and even shorter, you know, it doesn't have to be 25 minutes long or whatever to have these really beautiful moments, like to me in the Bathtub Gin and I don't even know other various points, and everything's right. Second song out. There's even these shorter jams. There's really beautiful stuff happening. I think Fishman is driving things. He sounds amazing. Paige sounded amazing last night. I mean, they all sound amazing and bring their own thing, but yeah, they're having fun, and so are we.
Okay, so it's Sunday. I'm gonna just put up a comment from a Facebook viewer who knows you. Can you see that?
Hey, brother. What's up, Davis?
So Sunday shows are so great and like so storied. How are you preparing? What are you expecting, if anything?
Mostly, actually, I'm preparing I already know where I'm going to order my dinner from tonight, but then we're going to pick up before we leave. So, like, I have a plan. And last night yesterday afternoon, we were sort of rushing around too much, and we ended up in way too long of a line getting into the lot A with the whole scene, and we were all getting a little impatient, you know, like, get us in there. So we're going to try to leave a little bit earlier and be prepared with food and beers in our cooler. It's hot, so you don't really want to hang out for like way too long out there, but I just don't want to be rushed. And yeah, you know, it takes a village to do this whole thing. I'm grateful to our friends who had our kids for a sleepover last night, so we got to sleep in this morning. So I had a decent sleep, and I'm feeling good going into it, actually. I mean, to be as old as I am and heading into a third night, I think I feel pretty good about where we're at the moment.
Maybe we're growing up.
Maybe.
Do you have any songs that you want to hear?
Well, I see this comment about a monster tweezer. Obviously, I'd love to see a tweezer, and we had a very special relationship with tweezer that 3-night run 2018.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a history of tweezer in this venue, of course. And yeah, I mean, actually, I thought about. It's funny, being so sweaty and like summertime just takes me back to like old shows. And I thought this morning, it just popped in my head, it feels like somehow I associate Atlanta and summertime with Antelope. I have no idea if that's accurate, by the way, if you like looked at actual statistics, but I think it'd be fun to have a an antelope tonight, maybe to close out the show or near the end or something would be fun. Just that high energy stuff.
I love it.
Would be super fun. We've already had so many good ones, just in these 2 nights that I've seen. Basically, they can do what they want to do. They can't go wrong. We're gonna have a great time. They're gonna have a great time. Everybody's gonna have a great time.
All right, that's all. I think that's all we can say. It's been amazing. All right, Liz, thank you. I'm gonna let you get back to your pre-show routine, and we're gonna bring in our friend Scotty B. So thank you. It was nice to talk to you about this.
Good to talk to you too. Tell everybody there hello.
Okay, I will. I'll see you soon.
All right. Take good care. Bye.
All right. We are going to bring Scotty B in here, also from Atlanta, or the Atlanta area, I think. Atlanta?
Yes, in Atlanta. How's it going, RJ? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You were probably listening in on some of that. What was it like last night? Was that your first show of the tour so far?
It was my first show since New Year's 19. And one thing you had asked Liz was, did it feel like different and I was surprised how it didn't feel different. It felt like riding a bike, it really, I thought it was, I maybe had built it up to be something different, but no, it felt like going home and similar. And it wasn't like they took the stage and I started crying, and it wasn't quite as emotional as I thought it would be, but it was fantastic, and had a great time. And I really like that venue. It's a small shed, which growing up in the Northeast and being at these monster sheds, I really like the size of Alpharetta.
Yeah, it's a cool venue. I haven't been there in a long time, and I was going to ask you because it seems like there's like a pretty. Did you see Chillwig's comment there?
Yeah, that is the desk. Exactly, the desk flipped a few times last night.
What's the significance of Atlanta? I mean, I feel like going all the way back to the early 90s, Phish has like a long history in Atlanta, and always, I think almost always plays like amazing shows there. It feels like a kind of a home base in a way, and outside of the Northeast.
Yeah, and I think the ties with Colonel Bruce have something to do with that. I also think Phish had a big stop there in spring 1992 that I believe a fire alarm went off, and like the show got cut short, and all these people in the South were so looking forward to this night in Atlanta that kind of got cut short. So Phish came back the following February and played 3 nights at the Roxy that are immortalized on a box set and include February 20th, 1993, one of the first tapes I ever had, and just I think an all-time Phish show, and that run had everything, and from there, I mean, it's just become there you've got Colorado, you've got New York City, and MSG, you've got Atlanta. It's just one of the capitals of the Phish world.
Yeah, it's totally true, and you're totally right about the ARU Colonel Bruce connection in that Roxy run. It's crazy to think back on that, because outside of the Northeast and Denver, it's like hard to think of another city where they've had such a incredible number of shows. But did you plan this trip just to go to these 2 shows?
Yes. I have some very dear friends that live down here and that have had 2 kids since I've last seen them, and I really wanted to meet the kids while they were still young, and so that was a big part of why I decided to do these shows, and it was the plan in 2020 when the shows were announced, was to go to Piedmont Park in Atlanta. So it was really carrying over from the pre-pandemic planning, and just so happened that that came towards the beginning of tour, which I'm glad for. I was glad to get in the game pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you get to. It's sort of like reuniting with friends and music, which is a great thing to be thinking. I forgot to ask Liz this, but how did you feel like being in a crowded venue, safety wise? Like, was it just like getting back into a show, or did that feel different?
Again, I came in with all of this anxiety, and I big talk of I'm going to wear the mask all night, and felt pretty comfortable the whole night. It was walking in, I had the mask in my hand, but I was able to stay away where I wasn't in a huge crowd of people at any point getting to my seat, and so I didn't wear the mask, and very few people did, but it felt comfortable, and I didn't leave my seat that much, so I don't think I took much in the way of chances. But and when the music started, it was, to be honest, I forgot about it, and I think
Yeah.
that's was kind of nice to forget about this pandemic for 3 hours.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm going to bring Liz back in a minute at the end because I want to ask you both about a couple things, but I want to get her take on that because I'm definitely I'm going to Nashville on Tuesday, and I'm like, I feel like a lot of people who are watching the shows and then going to shows later, it like feels a little nerve wracking to think about. What was the first set like for you? What were the highlights, and how'd that set land for you?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought the song choices in particular. I mean, Foam. I almost forgot about that song, and they've got
Yeah.
such a big repertoire, and that's what's so interesting to me about these first 7 or 8 shows. I mean, how do you pick from when you're Trey? It's like deciding between your children, and I thought they played everything really well. Destiny was really tight, but while Everything's Right had the best improv, Stash was right behind it. Stash had this pretty jam. Stash is usually so dark and evil, and it was like a blissful Stash jam, and that was really cool. But Turtle and the Clouds was great to see them dance. But Maze, in terms of just a straightforward Type One song, I thought the intensity and the tension and release that they built throughout that maze, it just it talk about pre-tour, mid-tour form. It was just really well played, and Page took his solo to the next level, which amped Trey up, and I don't typically go back, and Maze is one of the things I'll listen to, but I look forward to hearing this Maze again.
Yeah, Liz mentioned that too. I thought watching it, I mean, I've been watching more of the streams than I typically do. And Paige is just like I feel like the solo album and probably just getting prepared for tour. He's just like, man, he's on it and in like different ways than I typically expect.
Absolutely. I mean, their listening skills are. I mean, they'll Trey will play a riff, and Paige is right there to echo it and play counter melody. And I mean, again, I guess that comes with 38 or however many years it's been of all this experience. But I'm really surprised at how quickly it's come together for them this early in the tour.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that at the end. I will say so. I think this is the fourth foam since 2016, which is crazy because I sort of forgot about it too, or didn't expect it to come back, which is amazing. So one of our listeners, I'm going to put this comment, or viewers rather, I guess in this medium, Scotty. Let's hear about this chalk dust torture.
My God, they they covered so much ground. There was a large chunk of it that was this egalitarian jamming where all four of them were just adding to this to the we're cooking the soup together and all added the perfect ingredients. And then Trey just takes it towards the end and builds to a nice peak, and it just the crowd really helped build that peak. I felt like we were all in it together with the band, and that was a beautiful thing to witness. And I laughed at the whole 4.0 thing, and but it does seem like they're developing a different style of jamming, and it's really just taking elements of what they've the styles of jamming from the past, and building on it, and taking it somewhere new. And we saw that in One Night Prior, in the Carini, and then last night in Chalk Dust. And it was a monster, and there were so many points where they could have pulled the ripcord and gone into another song, but they didn't. It just kept coming, and it was just fantastic improvisation.
Man, it reminded me of the Dick's 2013 version, like in that there was just like all these segments that just kept kind of building and building. Really phenomenal. Our friend Maggie Rose says, nice breather with shade. I just love that song. Also, if you look on YouTube, you can see Maggie covering it, which is also really amazing. That's such a great song, and I feel like that kind of came at the right time in the middle of the set. How did that land with you, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like that was the first time I could really sit down and take a breather, which I like. I like taking a breather every once in a while. I mean, that first set was just, high intensity the whole time. And the second set, besides the couple of minutes at the start of Caspian until they started blowing the roof off towards the end of the song, Shade was the first time that it was fairly mellow. And, Trey's voice, is something that we saw during the Beacon Jam. He just sounds, his vocal skills are really good these days, and I thought he did a great job with Shaden, especially with A Life Beyond the Dream. I am not the biggest fan of A Life Beyond the Dream, but I was feeling it last night. I thought it was a perfect encore for that show. It kind of reminded me of like a 70s rock show, like that this band would come to town and play an encore where you've got this emotional song, and then the party cavern to finish. So I thought the encore was really well played.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I was expecting more for some reason, and I feel like that'll come out as an encore one of these nights coming up.
Yeah.
That was a cool combo. All right, so Scotty, we got to talk about tonight because it's a Sunday show, and as our YouTube viewer just said, happy birthday, Jerry. Sunday night show. There's all kinds of hijinks and things that could happen. They could also just be a straightforward, awesome show. What do you expect, if anything?
Yeah, I have done pretty good so far this run with not coming in with expectations. I'm just taking it as it comes. As I said, the repertoire is so big, it's like fool's errand to even try. Yeah. But I will say, I've seen a bunch of shows on August 1st, and I've seen a bunch of shows on August 9th. And outside of the time where I went to Virginia Beach and they played Terrapin Station, I've always been disappointed when I've been thinking that they're going to pay tribute to Jerry. So I'm not, I think that's pretty out of the realm of possibilities, which is okay.
Yeah, it's just going to be a great show. Yeah. All right, I want to ask you guys both about the lights. I'm going to bring Liz back in. Liz, can I bring you back in? I think she's there still. Hey, Liz.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Scotty.
Hi, Liz.
How's it going?
Excellent.
I forgot to ask you, Liz, about the lights, but I feel like last night I wanted to ask you about the difference between Friday and Saturday night, because it felt like it's getting more elaborate or dialed in or something. It looked like kind of more intense last night than even on Friday night. Did you feel anything different, or is it just like really cool all around?
Are you talking to me or Scotty, or
Yeah,
either one?
for you.
Okay.
For you, Liz.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you that because I wondered if we were just positioned differently. We were like much more head on to the stage last night, whereas we were off at the side on Friday night. So I didn't know if we just like didn't have a view of the light rig properly the first night, or if they had added a ton of stuff. Because for me, it was an entirely different lights experience last night, and it was incredible and super intense and just like off the chain.
That's a good point. And Scott, I don't know if you know, but I feel like someone yesterday was saying like at Oak Mountain the stage was smaller. Maybe they didn't have the full moving stuff set up at Oak Mountain, and maybe they did last night, but it definitely looked more intense.
There was all that like all these like diagonal line things that were happening. I don't know any kind of lingo for lights, but
yeah, that's what I call them.
But it was amazing, and there was stuff that I definitely didn't see happening on Friday night. I just didn't know if it was my vantage point or if they're dialing it up or what.
I mean, the light show needs to be seen to be believed. This tour,
right?
I mean, it didn't come through on the live stream even close to as cool as it was as seeing it in person. There was this one part where it was like sparks or like fireworks going off, and just some of the looks that Kuroda has come up with, and just talking about earlier, I said that Phish has taken what they've done in the past and kind of built on it and created something new. And I feel like the same is true with Kuroda. I mean, there's elements of what he's done in the past, but there's such a new feel to the light show.
Yeah.
And it really blew me away. It really did.
Yeah, it was amazing. There was something, I don't remember what song it was, but right in the beginning where there was this like the rainbow thing happening for a long time. That was amazing. But my husband Peyton was saying this morning, we were listening back actually to the encore, and he was saying, wow, it really builds and builds, that Life Beyond the Dream by the end, where it sort of gets very soaring at the end. And he was saying, hearing it in the audio, you can hear it soar, but it's nothing like being there when you have the sound plus the lights in the mix. That's where you really get that experience of soaring. They're remarkable. He's doing a great job for sure.
I feel like the jamming is partially like, I mean, Trey's obviously been doing a bunch of stuff outside of Phish, just between the solo acoustic and Lonely Trip and, all the Instagram stuff he was doing. But it seems like, and Paige did his solo album. I know Mike's been working on new music. So it feels to me like they're all kind of bringing the best of everything they're doing to this band, which is super exciting. I feel like that's, I feel like we don't give enough credit to the side projects because they actually help like make Phish better in addition to being good music on their own,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. Any predictions for tonight before we let you guys go? I know Scotty. Making predictions is a losing game.
I guess it's while I don't predict that they're going to play it. I'd like to see Lonely Trip. I really, that song, particularly of the stuff that came out during the pandemic, resonated with me, and I'd like to see Phish play that.
That's a great call. Liz, any predictions?
Nah, I'm just along for the ride. We were chatting a little bit this morning. You never know what they're going to pull out. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a punch you in the eye or something, or we'll see.
Yeah.
I will say that to your point about the side projects and stuff, again, it's fun having a friend at a show for the first time last night and chatting with him about it. He was saying it's fun to hear somebody thinking about it sort of afresh, right? He was saying how cool it is, and having just listened to Alive Again, which was so awesome. Of course, RJ, I loved Alive Again. That they keep, as you say, reinventing themselves and keep growing and bringing new stuff and growing and growing. And we're just so lucky to have a band that keeps getting better and caring about being amazing and not just like doing the same old thing. That every night they can come out and bring something fresh and new. And here we are, decades into this journey, and it just keeps getting better.
Amen.
So I'm grateful for that.
Wild. Totally wild. All right. Last question before I let you guys go for real. There's a lot of talk about Tweezer in the chat box. I just want to tell you that. But okay, so thumbs up or thumbs down on the Fishman antics in terms of how it works live during the show.
Go ahead, Liz.
I say neutral. I mean, I think there's moments where I giggled and thought it was kind of funny. I hope it doesn't get overplayed. I don't want it to go on forever, you know. I laughed particularly. It felt like early in the show last night when it felt like a reference to Friday night. I laughed and was like, that's funny. But I don't need to hear it forever.
I'm going thumbs up. I'm going
You're
thumbs up. I think it's fun. Even if Fishman's only cracking himself up, God bless him. Let him. And like, it's not going to last forever, and it's going to move on to something else. And then in 2 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, remember when Fishman used to hit the thing and make the sounds? Why don't they do that anymore? So so I'm letting them. I've learned enough from the Fish experience to take it as it comes, and I'll let Fishman decide when enough's enough.
That's right. As long as they're having fun.
Yeah,
I mean, it's funny. I definitely
funny.
Giggle.
I would say keep it out of Slave, and otherwise,
that's fair.
Right. Right.
Maybe slightly more, but yeah, it does work sometimes. I'm just like, man, listening back to it, it's like now you expect it, like every, at the like at any point where there's like a quiet moment in a song, it's like it's coming. But if it adds to their fun, especially like going into a Sunday night show, which are always a lot of fun, I hope it as long as they're having fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they are.
They are. And we are too. And you guys get to go to another concert tonight, which is
I can't wait.
Scotty, maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, I hope to see you later, Liz.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys for joining. This was awesome. I'm going to let you guys go and wrap up, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Liz.
Take care.
Bye.
Take it easy.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. And tomorrow, my friend Brian Brinkman, who I think you all know, is going to be here, and he's going to be talking to another special guest. All of our guests are so special. We love them. And thank you for tuning in. This was really fun, as always. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow after the Sunday show. See you then. Peace.